Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I am filming a get ready with me and I'm going to show you guys my newest skincare, my new makeup, and we're going to talk about the last year of my 20s. I'm about to celebrate my 29th birthday in a few weeks and it just has me super sentimental, thinking about life, and I just want to talk about it. I always do a video around my birthday about like things I've learned, lessons I've learned, etc. But it feels the most authentic to me to just do like a vulnerable conversation with you as I'm about to enter the last year of my 20s. I'm like so old for the internet, not in a bad way, but just like everyone on the internet just feels so young and I just feel very old. Selena Gomez's new album came out and the song Younger and Hotter is very relevant. But first, we're gonna do my skincare. And I wanted to thank Prose Skincare for sponsoring today's video because I have been using them for the past couple of weeks and they are custom skincare made specifically for you. Prose has quickly become one of my favorite skincares because, as you guys know, I have struggled with acne for quite some time. I have one breakout right here that is going away. And then for the most part, my skin has cleared up significantly because it was so bad a few weeks ago. And any of my skincare girlies know that skincare needs to be customizable because one size does not fit all. And on Prose, you can actually go take a quiz. It analyzes 85 different types of like skin ailments or characteristics. So you know it's incredibly custom. And I feel like I got a very good, clean, simple custom line for me that I've been doing morning and night. And what I like about it is that it's not this like 10-step super long routine. I realize is less is more. I feel like we're always trying to add different serums and acids, and honestly you just like strip your skin barrier. My two biggest things that I wanted to make sure was included in the skincare line was things that were not going to make me break out, and also things that actually like hydrated my skin and helped heal my skin, because I have felt like I have like stripped my skin so many times. Just that's the nature of having acne. I have been ready to scale back and simplify. Also, the packaging is so beautiful. Like, I like having this on display. We're gonna wash my face. We're gonna add the serum. We're gonna add the moisturizer. We're gonna have a good clean base. We'll get into the makeup. Now that I have a good base, let's get into the makeup. I highly recommend taking your custom skincare quiz on Prose. So I'm gonna have the website linked down below. They have hair care and skincare. Personally, the skincare I've been really loving, and I have noticed that my skin has cleared up significantly in the past couple of weeks. So definitely check it out, and thank you Prose for sponsoring today's video. My hair out of the way and let's do my makeup. I want to first talk about how I thought my 20s would go versus how they actually turned out, because I feel like when you're a teenager, your 20s seems super old and you just feel like anyone in their 20s is like such an adult that has their life together. And truly, I don't think the 20s could be described more oppositely. Yes, while we are all adults and, you know, we're entering the real world for the first time, and your entire life, you kind of know what you're gonna do next. When you're in elementary school, you know what grade you're going into next. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc. When you are a 12th grader, a lot of people typically know that they're either gonna enter the workforce or they're gonna go to college. And the next 4 years are kind of planned out for you. And then once you're done with college, you're 22 typically, and you're just thrown into the real world with no idea what you're gonna do next. You know that there's stages of life that you have to complete, and you have a timeline, at least I did in my head, of when I wanted to complete those life stages, but realistically, it's not gonna work out the way that you think it's going to. When I was younger, I thought I was going to get married by like 23. Like, that was my timeline in my head. So I was 15, 16 years old thinking, you know, I'm gonna get married out of college, I'll have a college boyfriend, we're gonna get married, we'll have kids by 25, I'll be a young mom, because for some reason being a young mom was like something I wanted. And I definitely think for me, it's because my parents got married super young. My parents were in college when they got married. So I had this idea that that was something that not only was realistic, but that I wanted to also have in my life. I graduated college. I was in a relationship. I had broken up with my boyfriend after we graduated, fairly quickly entered another relationship just a few months later, who I ended up being with for a pretty long time. We were in a 4-year-long relationship. So most of my 20s were spent in a relationship, but I wasn't necessarily like thinking about marriage anymore as much. Like, of course I wanted to get married and that was something that I had in mind, but I kind of had the like relationship checkbox ticked. And so I was happy even if I wasn't necessarily like married or on that timeline. And for me, once I was in my 20s already, I really started to develop my own sense of identity. And outside of my family, I was incredibly independent. I was very career driven and like goals oriented. This was something that I really developed on my own, where I really just wanted to be as independent as possible. I wanted to explore different parts of the world. I wanted to grow my career and become an entrepreneur. And my focus from when I was like 14, 15 of getting married and being a young mom really shifted more towards becoming my own boss and making money, being really successful. And looking back now, I feel like it's because I had been in relationships, even though I had my first boyfriend when I was about to turn 18. So it wasn't like I was one of those kids that was always like boy obsessed or anything like that. Like, I really wasn't. But once I got into being an adult, I was in relationships and I was in long-term relationships, and those boxes were checked. So like the thing that I looked for next was my career. So I focused on that. I was able to quit my job. I started a business. I was able to buy a house. I flipped a house, moved to New York City. I moved to Miami. I was able to do a lot of things that I had wanted to do. And I am so beyond proud of myself for that. And then me and my boyfriend broke up and I was single and I was 26 years old. No prospects of a relationship whatsoever. And I was just kind of feeling a little lost and like I didn't know what I wanted anymore. I had already started a business. We had raised money. We were growing that business, and that was like a good distraction for a little bit. But when it came to like, what do I want my future to look like? It just looked so different from when I was a little kid that it was a little like confusing. It was kind of like, am I on the right track? Is this what I really want to be doing? And I decided, you know, I am going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on my relationships. I'm going to focus on strengthening my faith. Like, I really started becoming a lot more like introspective, focusing on like friendships and things that I didn't really focus on in my early 20s because I was in a relationship or working on my career. And for me, when I was 26, 27, 28, single, I was just like, wow, this is really not where I thought my life was going to go or how I thought my life was going to be. But my life was full in so many other ways that I was honestly okay with it. And I was traveling a lot. I had made my absolute best friends. My relationships with my friends had never been better. I was in the groove with my business. And I honestly feel, I'm not just saying this, like I had such a full life. And it just looked so different from what I had imagined. I was living in Miami, which I never thought I would move back to Miami. I always thought I would be living in like New York City, and I had only lived there for 1 year. I was completely single, completely alone, and I was really happy. I had the best girlfriends, and I never was someone that had like a group of girlfriends. Like, I was always someone that had one best friend, but I was a bit more like just me and one other person. I wasn't someone that had like a big group of girlfriends. And I had like made such a good group of girlfriends. I was traveling to places I had never been. I was traveling by myself. I was just like honestly so fulfilled and so happy. And it looked so different than what I had thought. And I just remember thinking, like, if you would have told my younger self on paper what I would have been doing, like, you know, you have a business, but at the time it really wasn't doing like that well. I was just kind of like still really grinding on it. You're living in Miami, you're single, you're not even like really dating that much. This is kind of where your life is at. I would have been like, wait, I'm not a mom, I'm not a wife, I'm not in a relationship, I'm not like living in New York City. Like, what's going on? If you're actually looking at the way that my life was at that moment and how I was feeling, I had never felt like I was in a better place in my life. Like, it truly was such a good spot to be in for me. And I wanted to just talk about this because I feel like so many of us are married to this idea that what we had when we were younger of like, we have to be at a certain point in our career. We have to be at a certain point in like this life stage that needs to get checked off in our 20s. We have to have done this, this, and this. We have to be living in this type of city or else we're a loser, whatever it is that you guys are thinking. And the times when I felt my happiest, the most myself, the most like this is where I'm meant to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, was actually when all of that was like completely thrown out the window and something that I could have never pictured. And now I'm in the point of my life where I am in a relationship, I'm happy, my business is actually doing like the best it's ever done. I'm about to be 29 and I haven't checked those like life stage boxes that I thought I would check in my 20s, like getting married, having kids, you know, living in the big city. And yet life is still really freaking good. I just like want this to serve as a reminder that your 20s are going to be the most like volatile roller coaster times of your life. Like you're probably not going to expect the stuff that happens in it. And I'm assuming that every decade is probably like that. Like I'll probably be making a video like this when I'm 39 talking about my 30s. But I just think that there's so much beauty in that. And there's so much beauty in like having a full life before you find someone. And this is not about being single, being in a relationship, anything like that. But for me, as someone who really prioritized and like valued that when I was younger, even though I would have never said that that was a priority of mine, it was because that was like kind of all I've known. I was able to really like focus on myself and really like grow my relationships and become a better version of myself, I think, now that for my 30s and for like what I'm, you know, going to step into later in life. But this kind of mindset has really like changed my life because I always think about my parents and how I think that their life started when they had their kids. Like when they got married and they had their kids. Before that, they didn't have a life. Like obviously I know that that's not true, but in my head, like I can't picture my parents dating. I can't picture my parents being 20 years old and going through college. Like that's just like not something that my brain comprehends. And this is not like my parents specifically. I think this is just like most kids can't think of it with their parents. But obviously my parents have had full lives without the kids and before us. And I know that because I have had such a full life and I am not in those stages of life where I have a family that I'm taking care of. And I always think like, if my kids think that my life started with them, which they probably will because they're not going to be able to comprehend that I had a life outside of it, like, wow, what a full life I've had. Like, I've been able to make my best friends. I've traveled the world with some of my best friends. I've been able to live in so many different cities across the world. I have had a career before having, you know, kids and a family. And the fact that I've gotten to do that, even though that wasn't like the original plan, and I haven't gone through the traditional like stage of life that most people that you think would go through by this age, I've never been happier in my life. And I think the 20s are the most like wild times with how much you change every single year, but like they've been the best. It's been the best decade of my life. And I know some people are like, oh my gosh, 29, 30, like I'm so old. And trust me, I will be saying that as well. And I do think that, but I'm also like so thankful that I'm not 24 anymore. I'm so thankful that I'm not 23 anymore. Like I was so confused with what I wanted to do. I was so like lost at that point, and I just feel so confident now. I've gone through so many moments where I've felt insecure when I was in my early 20s, or I just felt like I didn't know if I was on the right path or what I was supposed to be doing and what direction to kind of like take my life. And even though obviously there are moments like that now, I just feel so much more like confident and secure in who I am, and so much more excited to like take on life, I guess, that it doesn't scare me entering my 30s. I'm actually so grateful that I am entering my last year of my 20s, and like I'm excited to be in my 30s, and I'm excited to, you know, get older. And I think it's such a blessing, and it shouldn't be something that we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm getting older. Like this is a good thing. And I've just been really like introspective lately and reframing my mindset and just like looking at my life in the past 10 years of my life being in my 20s and seeing how much I've changed as a person and how much I've grown and how many like lessons I've learned. And like writing to my younger self has been super, super helpful for me, and reading my old like journal entries. And it has just been like, I'm just like so excited to be entering my last year of my 20s as a more like emotionally mature, confident person. And I just know that if I'm feeling this way, other people probably are too. So I just wanted to have this like chat and this reminder. I am now ready for the day. My makeup has gone on so smooth. I swear having a good skincare routine and having good like clean skin is the key to having your makeup go on better. So do not forget to check out Pros. I'm gonna have my link down below, but take their custom skincare quiz so you can get your custom skincare set. It is so simple. As you can see, I'm in North Carolina. I've been traveling with it, and it's really helped clear my skin because you guys have seen it before. Like, this is actually night and day of a difference. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's Get Ready With Me. I love chatting with you guys, especially now that I don't really have my podcast anymore. This is my time to like chat with you, and thank you for letting me do it, and thank you for hearing me rant. Anyways, I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you again to Pros for sponsoring today's video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye guys.